Dr. Donald Kohn and colleagues at the UCLA Eli and Edythe Broad Center of Regenerative Medicine and Stem Cell Research successfully established the foundation for a stem cell-based gene therapy to treat sickle cell disease. Here, Dr. Kohn briefly discusses the breakthrough stem cell discovery that is scheduled to begin clinical trials in early 2014.
Hi, my name is Donald Kohn. I'm a professor at the University of California, Los Angeles. I'm in the departments of microbiology, immunology, and molecular genetics, and the Department of Pediatrics. I'm a member of the Eli and Edythe Broad Stem Cell Research Center here at UCLA. We have a paper being published in the Journal of Clinical Investigation on beta-globin gene transfer to human sickle cell disease bone marrow. This describes work that we've been doing for the last 3 years under a grant from the California Institute for Regenerative Medicine, or CIRM. The goal of this work is to develop a new way to treat patients with sickle cell disease. Sickle cell disease is a blood disease in which people inherit an abnormal form of the gene for beta-globin. Because of this, the red blood cells that they make have abnormal properties, and when stressed, like by fever, infection, dehydration, the red cells can sickle and block the blood vessels. And this can cause sickle crises, problems with organs, and multiple other medical problems. So sickle cell disease, despite us knowing about it for a long time, still remains a very severe disease. It is known that sickle cell disease can be treated with a bone marrow transplant. That is, if you give someone with sickle cell disease bone marrow from a healthy brother or sister who's a match, that can make normal red cells and basically prevent sickle cell disease from being ongoing. The problem is that most people with sickle cell disease don't have a brother or sister who's a healthy match donor. So our research is trying to find a way to transplant people using their own bone marrow rather than from someone else. If we can do this, it'll be a perfect match and everyone can be their own donor. So we think this could really be a safer and more widely applicable treatment. So the main focus of the research is trying to figure out how we can effectively engineer the patient's bone marrow so that the red cells it makes don't sickle. And so we're using gene therapy methods of transferring into the bone marrow stem cells an engineered copy of the beta-globin gene that actually prevents the red cells from sickling. What we show in the paper is that, in fact, this works in the test tube. We can take bone marrow from patients with sickle cell, and we had 25 patients around the state of California volunteer to give us bone marrow samples, and in the laboratory use a virus to transfer into those stem cells this corrective beta-globin gene. And if we then drive the red blood cell, the stem cells to make red blood cells in the laboratory, we can show that they're protected from sickling. And so that's the research that we've done so far. Now really the next step is to try and take this from the laboratory to the clinic and perform a clinical trial for patients with sickle cell disease where they would undergo a procedure to see if this is effective. And so patients would have some of their bone marrow harvested or collected in the operating room. Then in the laboratory we would isolate the stem cells, use our virus to carry this normal globin gene into their stem cells, then transplant them back into the patients. And this will be a small pilot study initially just to determine whether this can be done safely and to get some idea of whether it might be effective. If we see that we can do this safely and there's some evidence of effectiveness in these patients, the next step would be to do a larger trial to really determine what level of benefit this can give to patients. We hope that this will be beneficial and that we will be able to provide a new way to treat sickle cell disease better than the current approaches. With research, one never knows the outcome until you do the study, but we've been working very hard to try and bring this to the clinic.
The Eli and Edythe Broad Center of Regenerative Medicine and Stem Cell Research at UCLA. Discover, learn, cure. Dr. Kohn's research was supported by the California Institute for Regenerative Medicine through Proposition 71, the Stem Cell Initiative, the UCLA Broad Stem Cell Research Center and Jonsson Comprehensive Cancer Center, and the National Institutes of Health Ruth L. Kirkstein National Service Award.